We are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the BornCEO Leadership Academy. I'm Coach Fard Bell, the head coach of BornCEO Leadership Academy, where we're on a mission to help everyone become financially free and be who they were born to be. We have people joining us from every background, every walk of life, different industries, different professions, different careers, different businesses, but all coming together to grow. Many people are here because you're like, hey, I want to get clear on what my purpose is in life. What is my life's work? What's my calling? I want to get clear on that and develop the confidence that I can actually do it. And maybe I want to figure out, how do I pay my bills when I do figure it out? I already know what my calling is, what my life's work is, but how do I get into a place where I'm not worried about how the bills are going to get paid while I pursue it? Some people are in a place you're already pursuing your passion, your calling in life, but you want more time or financial freedom. And some of you have achieved the time, financial freedom, and you're living your purpose, but you want to be in an environment with others who are doing the same. You want to pour into others. You want to add to the community and bring others along with you. I have a huge desire to see more and more young people here. And so this is a program that people have actually invested thousands of dollars to participate in. But as I'm in the process of launching our 501c3 nonprofit, it was put on my heart to make this portion available for free so that we can just empower as many people as possible. And I know in the process of giving, everything else will take care of itself to help fund the program, to help grow it. I just know great things are going to happen. And so we're on a mission. So invite teenagers, young adults, and adults from all ages to be with us here on Monday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern time, as you see on the screen. And we're going to grow together. The foundation of this program is based on my book, Born to Rule: 7 Steps to Claiming Your Freedom and Living Your Purpose. And last week, we had our first session of the year, and we covered topic number 1. So we're going to start off with a little recap of last week, and then we'll jump into our topic for this week as well. But first, let me introduce you to our introduction here with BornCEO Leadership Academy, and how to introduce yourselves as a part of the BornCEO movement. I'm gonna put up a slide so we can go around and have you properly introduce yourself. There's just four statements where you're gonna fill in the blank and introduce yourself using this format. And it's for a very specific reason to kind of set the tone for who we are and how we see ourselves. And so here's the 4-part format on how to introduce yourself properly. I'll go first. My name is Coach Fard Bell, and I'm the BornCEO of My Life Incorporated. One of my ultimate dreams is to become a reverse tither, where I can live on 10% of my income and be able to give away 90% to support the causes that I know I'm called to make an impact in, and help millions of people claim their freedom and live their purpose. My goal this year is to help a dozen more people replace their full-time incomes with a passive income, so their time is free to do what they were born to do and live like they were born to live. Once again, my name is Coach Fard Bell, and I'm the BornCEO of My Life Incorporated. And so this is where we would make some noise and cheer for the person, and then the next person jumps in. So just say your real name and that you're the BornCEO of your life, and we'll explain what that means in a moment. And then just fill in the blank with your dream and remind us of who you are. So go ahead and unmute. Who wants to go first or next? And this should take
I'll go next.
Go ahead, take it away.
My name is Selena Scott, and I am the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to become a ring earner with Legal Shield. Let me see. Ooh, I want to say 500K. I can't think of 500K. I know people say 100, and then of course you're going to get 50, but right now sky's the limit. You got to go high. Okay, so 500, and my goal this year is to be nothing less than a senior director in my business. And once again, my name is Selena Scott, and I am the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right, make some noise, everybody. Woo woo, or show some love in the chat. Who's next? And everybody remember, we've got people from different businesses, different walks of life. So you can say my business, keep it generic if you can. Who's next? Jump right on in.
Okay, I'll go, Coach. I am Shelly Jasper, and I am born CEO of My Life Incorporated. I have a dream to have enough land to help aged out foster children that are aged out of the system and help them learn how to live life. I lost where I was. Sorry, my cat jumped on the table. Let's see.
My goal this year?
I will step out of my way. Wait, sorry about that. Is to help to help cancer patients go to Mexico. I will also step out of my way. I am Shelly Jasper, and I am born CEO of My Life Enterprises.
All right. Woo woo. Make some noise, everybody. That we celebrate each other.
Woo.
All right, who's next?
This is Ricky Smith from New Orleans, Louisiana. My name is Ricky Smith, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is for my daughter to be job optional and be able to pursue her dreams. And my goal this year is to assist 10 others with their goals. And basically, once again, my name is Ricky Smith, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right. Woo, woo.
Who's next?
Who's next? Jump right in.
I can go next. My name is Robin Vondrak, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to also be a reverse tither, so I can help fund the things that I'm most passionate about in my life. And my goal this year is to help my church financially build our new church building. And once again, my name is Robin Vondrak, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right. Woo woo. Go ahead, Mr. Cassell.
Yeah, this is Ed Castle, Coach, and I'm the born CEO of My Life, Inc. My ultimate dream is to become a Legal Shield ring earner at as high a level as I can possibly attain. And my goal this year is to make executive director this year. And once again, my name is Edwin Castle, and I'm the born CEO of My Life, Inc.
All right. Welcome, welcome. Woo woo. Who's next?
I'll go next. My name is Tawana Foster, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to reach the highest position I can so I'll be able to help many. And my goal this year is to do better and work harder than I did last year. Once again, my name is Tawana Foster, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right. Welcome, welcome.
Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
Who's next? Jump right in. We'll take a couple more. Don't be shy.
My name is Ed Schumer.
Your turn.
Oops.
Go ahead.
My name is Ed Schumer, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to create multiple ring earners on my team and to fully fund my nonprofit, which helps children through basketball programs in multiple states. My goal this year is Platinum Executive Director. Once again, my name is Ed Schumer, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right. Love it. Welcome, welcome. Miss
My
Tony?
name is,
Woo!
can I go?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Evelyn Gavino, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to pay off my mortgage by December 30, 2028. And my goal this year is to be a consistent executive director in my company. Once again, my name is Coach Fard Bell, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. Thank you.
All right, welcome. I know your name's not Coach Farbell, but we know what you meant. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, Miss Tony.
My name is Tony Meade Carter, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to own facilities where foster young ladies who become pregnant can live with their child and pursue their vocational goals as they abundantly support themselves and their children and be an example for others and an asset to them. My goal this year is to bring on board my immediate family and 25 other associates on board to succeed and thrive as they achieve time and financial freedom. Again, once again, my name is Tony Meade Carter, and I am the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right, welcome, welcome. Miss Sade.
My name is Shirley Stevens, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to pass down generational wealth to my children's children. And my goal this year is to start a God-driven business and win souls for the kingdom. Once again, my name is Shirley Stevens, and I'm the born CEO.
All right, welcome, welcome. All right, we got time for one or two more.
I'll go.
Jump right in.
All right. My name is Marion Knox, and I'm the CEO, the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream is to be financially free, and my goal this year is to get my photography business fully up and running. Once again, my name is Marion Knox, and I am the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right, welcome, welcome. One more? If you haven't gone yet, it's your turn. Going once, going twice.
My name is Eleanor Melvin. I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated. My ultimate dream this year is to be financially stable and have money to leave my children and my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. My goal this year is to become at least executive in my business. And once again, my name is Eleanor Melvin, and I'm the born CEO of My Life Incorporated.
All right, welcome, welcome. Everybody put up some love for everybody in the chat. When I first started doing Born CEO Leadership Academy back in 2015, we were physically meeting up, and it was a powerful part of the culture where you would hear every week, because we were sharing our dreams and goals. Number one, it reminds us of who we are and what it means to be the born CEO of Your Life Incorporated is going to mean more and more to you as you stay in the environment and as you grow and understand that meaning. And it takes on a meaning of its own. But also saying your dream out loud in a safe environment every week, you'll start to get clearer and clearer as you hear other people share their dream. You'll hear people go from maybe some financial dreams to elevating to, okay, what's the reason for those financial goals? You know, what am I going to do with the financial freedom? What kind of impact do I want to make in my life, in my family's life, in my community, in the world? And it's a powerful transformation every week to see it evolve, that clarity of just saying it, thinking about it. Some are thinking about it for the first time. Some have been crystal clear on it. But then also to go from not only what's that big dream, but okay, what is the goal for this year towards that big dream? It starts to get clearer and clearer and clearer. And so I'm super excited to see how things evolve as we go. We're coming out of, we're doing a series in my book, 7 Steps, Born to Rule, 7 Steps to Claiming Your Freedom. and living your purpose. And just to kind of lay some foundation, for those who haven't heard my story, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but some of you all have heard when I was 6 years old, I didn't want to be alive. I thought something was wrong with me. I didn't know why people didn't like me. I didn't know why I was so different. I didn't know why I was so heavily teased, always the news kid. Not only did I hear the kids making fun of my name, I heard the teachers making fun of my name, and I thought adults knew everything. So if the teachers are saying things about me the same as what the kids are saying, then everything the kids are saying is probably true too. So I went into a spiral where my self-worth was tanking, and I started thinking maybe dying from asthma is not a bad idea when I would have asthma attacks from time to time. And then I had a divine encounter where the Lord showed up in my dream. I didn't grow up in church. I'm not here to preach a religion or anything like that. But how many know when you have a defining moment that changes everything for you, it's just something that you can't hide. And so I'm not here to promote a religion or promote anything for that matter, but to share with you some of the principles that I've seen transform my life as I was trying to figure out my purpose in life, as I was trying to figure out how am I going to find the time, how am I going to find the money, how am I going to find the clarity and the confidence. I wish I had something like this as a kid that would have helped me to figure that out, especially as a teenager, to help me figure out my purpose, to not spend so many years doing what everybody else thought I should be doing, and focusing on things that took me further away from my actual gift, my actual calling in life, and found myself wasting time going into debt because I didn't know my purpose. And so this is the program I wish I had as a teenager to help me in my journey of figuring out who am I, what was I put here to do, how do I become that person who can pull it off and have a support environment that can actually help me along the way. So as I share the principles that have made an impact on me, chew up the meat and spit out the bones. I'm sharing what's changed my life. I've also had the privilege and been blessed to get around some amazing mentors in my life that have helped me grow. People like the great late Dr. Miles Monroe, I've spent time with personally on many occasions. People like the great John C. Maxwell, billionaire Paul J. Meyer, billionaire Sir Richard Branson, billionaire Bill Austin, and several others. I've met at least a half dozen billionaires, a bunch of multimillionaires, so many just great mentors that took some principles that all of us can apply to our lives and have created great life change on those principles. And I found every single success principle I've ever learned or seen in motion is in the Bible. So I'm going to use a lot of Bible references, business references, personal development references. You can choose what part you take and run with based on your belief system. But I'm going to share with you all what has been impactful in my life, and hopefully that's a blessing for you as well. So step one in 7 steps to claiming your freedom and living your purpose is become the queen or king of your domain. Repeat to yourself, there's a domain I was born to rule. Some of the passages that help lay that foundation, Genesis chapters 26 through 28, Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 15, 1 Peter chapter 2, 9. See, I had a lot of confusion about who I was. And it wasn't until God showed up in my life that I realized, wait a minute, I'm seeking everybody else for answers about who I am, except the person who created me. And the only person that can help me get clear on who I truly am and who I was truly born to be is the one who created me to begin with. And I found so much clarity when I realized and started understanding how we were created, how mankind was created to begin with. So I'm going to kind of lay some fundamentals of the whole Born CEO movement, the message behind it, the principles behind it. And one of the people you want to put in your library, if you're seeking clarity on your purpose and your role in this world, is the great Dr. Miles Monroe in his book, Rediscovering the Kingdom. one of the most powerful books that helped me really get clear and lay a foundation for who I was born to be. A couple of terms when you hear born CEO, the first thing I want you to understand about when we talk about born CEO, the movement, is just understanding that I've come to believe and realize that everything and everyone belongs to God, including us, because he's the creator. And by simple fact of creation, he owns it all. And in a kingdom, we're going to talk about a kingdom, not a religion, but a kingdom. And what that means, a true king owns everything in their territory. And that's actually a good thing when it's a good king. We'll talk about that. But I looked up the definition of owner, and it says a person who owns something, one who has the legal or rightful title to something, one to whom property belongs. So keep in mind, and somebody put in the chat, God owns everything. And one of the things that will set us free in life is when we release ownership and realize we don't own anything, he owns it all, and he is the right person for the job. We'll see that in just a moment here. He can do better things for us than we can, trying to take on that ownership role that was never meant for us. Here's another principle. Mankind was created to rule on earth. This is why the book is called Born to Rule. When I realized mankind was created to rule on earth, but also to live by God's rules, not man's rules. We'll talk about that. But the word born, the definition of the word born, it says brought into life by the process of birth, having certain qualities or characteristics from the time of birth. If you were born to do something, this is so powerful. If you were born to do something or born to be something, you have natural qualities or talents that make you perfectly suited to do or be that thing. CEO, what is a CEO? A CEO is a chief executive officer, the highest ranking person in a company or other institution, ultimately responsible for making managerial decisions. When I look at the book of Genesis, the beginning, and this is how I've learned to understand the Bible. It's a very simple book that people overcomplicate, but it's very deep at the same time, and so rich with wisdom and guidance and success principles. One of my mentors used to say, don't read the Bible for the religion in it, read it for the success principles. And so anyway, in the book, the first 3 chapters of the Bible give us the history of God's purpose for us to begin with, the history of God's kingdom on earth. You'll find in the first 3 chapters of the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, 2, and 3. And then in the last 3 chapters of the Bible, Revelation 20, 21, and 22, you see the future of the kingdom of God on earth. And it's profound when you compare the history with the future. They almost look identical. But something happens in the middle where things completely shift, and everything else in the Bible, including our lives today, is like the journey from getting to how things used to be in the first 3 chapters and how things will be in the last 3 chapters. Everything else in the middle is the journey to getting there, including our lives today. And so when you look at the life of Adam and Eve, they were created to rule on earth. And so there's some good news. The good news is that when mankind lived by God's rule, life on earth was a perfect paradise. Follow me for a moment. When you look at Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 15, you see the perfect life. There's no pain, there's no sorrow, there's no poverty on earth, there's no disease on earth, there's no sickness, there's no death, there's no destruction, there is no hunger, no corruption, no man-made religion, no political issues, no stress, no bosses to work for, and no bills to pay. How many like that one? No bills to pay, right? Imagine living in a world like that. Imagine living on earth with none of those things in existence. That's how it was in the beginning. It was just love, freedom, and abundance. Whenever I go to a 5-star resort, an all-inclusive resort, a 5-star all-inclusive resort, whole nother level. I feel like I'm in the Garden of Eden, where all the food I need is already taken care of. The beach is beautiful, the weather's beautiful, all the amenities. I don't have to worry about bills. I'm worry-free. I'm like, wow, that's kind of like the closest I can get to imagining life the way it was in the beginning and the way it's described in the future. And or a cruise where everything's already paid for. And so imagine that. So that was the good news, is what life was like when we lived the way God intended for us to live. But then here's the bad news. The bad news is when mankind stopped living by God's rules, life on earth became corrupted. And this is where a lot of confusion comes from with our purpose and freedom that was intended for us, because some things got lost along the way. And so in Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 19, you'll start to see when mankind decided to do things differently than God's way, everything went to the dirt. Now there's pain on earth, now there's sorrow, now there's poverty, now there's disease, now there's sickness, now there's death. Now there's destruction. Now there's hunger, world hunger. Now there's corruption. There's all kinds of man-made religions that God never made. There's now political issues that God didn't create. There's stress. There are bosses to work for. There are bills to pay, debt to pay. All of these things came with corruption. This is not how life was intended for us. And it's not how life has to stay either. Wouldn't it be nice if life could go back to the way it was in the beginning? That's the question. And the good news is that it can. And so here's the best news. The best news is, whether we believe it or not, God actually has a plan to restore the earth and our lives back to the way it was in the beginning. When we look at John 3:16, it talks about God's plan. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that we might not perish, but have everlasting life. When we look at 3 John chapter 1 and 2, he says, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. When you look at Revelation 21 through 1 through 4, it describes the future of God's plan for us when we're restored back to this life of freedom and purpose, abundance, this 5-star resort type experience I like to think of. And we all have an opportunity to be a part of this plan. And that's where our purpose comes in. The reason why so many people don't understand their purpose, why I was confused about my purpose, is because we cannot understand our purpose outside of the context of God's plan. If you're taking notes, your purpose is your role within God's plan. So the only way to understand your role, your purpose in your role within God's plan, is to understand his big plan to begin with. And there's so much confusion and complication and things we've been taught and things people have come up with, that it's not that complicated. God's plan is so simple, and hopefully it comes that clear today, or as we grow together. And so it describes in Revelations 21, 1 through 4, that there's no more pain, sorrow, poverty, all those things that were never meant for us to begin with. It's there. And so here's more great news. And this might be a new thought for some people, because I used to think that God wanted us to just endure this horrible world that we live in now and then wait to one day go to heaven. And something just didn't make sense about that. Like, wait, so you created this whole earth, created all of this perfection, you placed us here, everything was great, and you said it was good. And just for me to live in this corrupt world after Adam and Eve made a mistake, and then the plan is for us to live like this forever and then go to heaven, and that's the end of the story. And then when I started reading the Bible for myself, not what people have explained or what other people's twist on it is, or man-made religion, I realized the Bible is not even about religion. It's not even about a religion. It's about God's plan, his government. It's about a kingdom. It's about his royal family, his royal offspring, and his plans. I'm like, wow, that makes so much more sense. The Bible doesn't say our purpose is to die and go to heaven in the end. No, it ends talking about a new heaven and a new earth and things being restored back to the way it was. And so God never intended for us to sit around and wait just to die and go to heaven. His plan for us is to live and help bring the culture of heaven back to earth. And that's where we can start to understand our role within God's plan. And that is our purpose, is to help bring the culture of heaven back to earth through our lives, through our gifts, through our relationship with him. And that is great news. And so here's what it says in Revelation 21. John says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. It's a beautiful picture of the future. Matthew 5:13 through 16 talks about how we are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And that our role is to let our light so shine before men that they see our good works and glorify him in heaven. So family, there's good news. The things that we've experienced, they don't have to stay that way. God has a plan, and it's not just a plan later one day. There's a plan for us right now on earth to find our purpose, to live our purpose, to experience an abundant life. And then when the time comes, the whole plan is going to be reset and renewed the way it was intended for the beginning. One of the books that made the most impact on my life is the book Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And oh my gosh, when I was trying to figure it out, see, I used to think that I would just sit back and pray and ask God, okay, show me this purpose. Because he said to me, I'm keeping you alive because there's something important you were born to do. He said that to me at 6 years old. 6 years old, came to me in a dream when I was at my breaking point, when I didn't want to be here anymore. And he said, hang in there. I'm keeping you alive because there's something important you were born to do. And the next day, I almost got run over by a truck that should have completely run over. And by miracle only, the guy was looking for my dead body under the trunk. My best friend was in the door with his mouth wide open. And I got up without a scratch after that dream, the day after. And all I could think of was this dream. I'm keeping you alive because there's something important you were put here to do. And my whole life, this message has never gone away. You're going to help people figure out their purpose and get free to do it, when I didn't even know what that meant. But one day, I got a hold of Purpose Driven Life. In fact, I think it was Pastor Keith Battle in Maryland, my pastor from the DC area of Zion Church. And they have a purpose-driven church model. And I got invited. And I think that's how I was introduced to the book Purpose Driven Life. And he broke down this acronym called SHAPE. And before seeing this, I remember thinking that God was going to show me the full picture of my purpose, and then I would just run with the full picture. But I started realizing that's not quite how God reveals our purpose to us all the time. In fact, most of the time, everybody I've met, they only get pieces at a time. And I realized what God was telling me is that, yes, I'm going to show you your purpose, but I need you to take action on what I've shown you so far. I'm going to give it to you piece by piece. And I need you to trust me and trust the process and move forward in the little piece that I've given you already before you ask me for the next piece. Trust me with the little. Be faithful over the little. And so once, okay, I know it has something to do with people's gifts. I grew up in the performing arts, went to a high school called Duke Ellington School of the Arts, surrounded by gifted people. And I felt this huge burden to see people in their gifts and didn't understand how that was connected to my calling in life. But he was showing me that your purpose is to help encourage people in their gifts and in their purpose, help people get clear on it. I've given you the gift of teaching. I've given you the gift of knowledge where you get glimpses of a person's passion. I would get glimpses of what a person was born to do and didn't know where it would come from and freak people out half the time. How did you know that? And I didn't understand. That was all a part of how I was uniquely shaped to serve my purpose. So the acronym for SHAPE, we talked about it last week, but the recording didn't go up. So I'm doing a recap. S stands for spiritual gifts. There's certain spiritual gifts that you've been given that are a part of what you were created to do, your role in God's plan to restore life and earth back to the way it was in the beginning. You have a part to play in that master plan. There's a certain heart he's given you, a passion he's given you for something. And when it kicks in, you'll realize there's something that probably bothers you when you look at the world. There's something that bothers you and you're like, something needs to be done. Somebody needs to do something about this. And once you realize that part that God actually gave you, you realize you are the person that was born to do something about that thing. And you may feel like you're disqualified or you're not worthy and all those things that creep in our mind, but God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. So whatever it is, pay attention, pray about it, ask God to show you what is it that you see in this world that bothers you, that you want to change in this generation that I'm alive in this time, that you want me to do something about. Stir it up in me. Don't let it go away. A stands for abilities. These are your strengths, your natural strengths that you have. There's certain things you're just good at it. And you may take it for granted because you're good at it, but to other people, it's one of the best gifts ever. They're like, oh my gosh, how do you know that? How do you do that? They come back to you for this thing. Do not neglect the natural abilities that you've been given. There's a reason you've been given those abilities. One of my favorite resources that helped me to start taking inventory on my strengths is called Strengths Finders 2.0. It's a book, it's an assessment. You can look it up online. But even if you just looked at the back of the book, that has a list of the different strengths and started circling the ones that apply to you, that gave me so much clarity. P stands for personality. According to psychology, there are 16 personalities. My favorite assessment is the Myers-Briggs assessment, especially when you answer the questions properly and it really hones into how you're uniquely wired in your personality. Doesn't mean you're trapped or stuck and have to stay the same way. That's not what it's about. But to understand that God gave us the personality that he gave us, the leaning for a reason. There's like 4 major groups of personalities, the NTs, the SJs, the NFs, and the NPs. And then there's 4 different like flavors of those personalities. But each one has its unique abilities. One of the things that used to bother me is that I was so different. And I wish somebody had helped me understand my personality. Somebody knew, because now that I understand my personality, I go, no wonder I was so different as a child. When you take the personality assessment, you can take it for free at the number 16personalities.com on the screen, 16personalities.com, 10-minute assessment. I encourage people, don't answer based on who you are now and some of the things you might have learned behaviors, but think about who you were by nature, how God created you naturally, and try to answer the questions naturally, who you were before you started learning to be a certain way. And then it's going to give you 4 key letters. Google those letters and see if the description matches you. If not, you might need to take it again. But I found out my personality type is INTP, very rare personality type. Most people with this personality type become like engineers or scientists or inventors or something. They live in their own world. Their own world is like way bigger than the reality out there. You know, sometimes socially awkward, the Einsteins, if you will, type of thing. Well, there's a reason why certain people have that type. Certain people have other abilities and personalities. But when we start to understand that God gave us our personality for a reason, and as we combine our gifts and our strengths and understand and appreciate other people who are different than us, and we all come together, all of a sudden, we're able to put together the pieces to our life's puzzle, if you will. E stands for experiences. There's certain experiences that you'll go through and grow through that God is going to use as a part of what you were called to do. There's certain things you had to go through or experience in order to understand your purpose. There's some things I believe God didn't intend for us to experience. Sometimes our own choices lead to certain experiences. Sometimes we go astray and listen to the wrong voices and have certain experiences. Sometimes things just happen to us that are unfortunate. But God has a way of using even the things that the enemy meant for bad for our good when we love him and are called according to his purpose. And so that's the E in experiences as well. So pay attention, pray about the experiences. And when you start to put these 5 different things together, you start to get a picture like a jigsaw puzzle coming together. And the more you put the pieces together, the more you start to get a picture of what your purpose is, or at least a baby step in that direction. And before I forget, I just want to encourage somebody, don't be afraid to take action. Like you might be saying, I think it's this, or I think it's this. I kind of have an interest in that. Don't be afraid to take action and move forward and adjust as you go. Ask God to lead you. Either you'll take action in one direction and find out, wow, this is that place that makes my heart sing. This is what I was born to do. Or you'll get clarity that this is not it. And God can guide you. Sometimes it's easier to steer a ship if it's already in motion than it is to steer a ship that's sitting still. So don't be afraid to take action in the direction that you think God wants you to go, and be in prayer as you go for him to guide you in the right direction, guide you to the right people, guide you to the right experiences. And so it is like a jigsaw puzzle. And it's easier to put together a jigsaw puzzle if you know what it's supposed to look like from the beginning. But it's not impossible to put together a jigsaw puzzle, even if you can't see the cover. It's not impossible. And by the way, for those who are watching live on Facebook, you want to jump on the Zoom, go to BornCEO.com/BCLA, or just go to BornCEO.com and on the drop-down menu, click BornCEO Leadership Academy. Register. It'll give you the Zoom link so you can jump on here and we can interact as well. But if you don't have the whole picture of the puzzle, but you're just handed some pieces, if you're like me, you start with the corner pieces. Okay, there's 4 corner pieces if it's a rectangle or a square. So you got those, okay. And then if you're like me, you'll say, all right, well, all these are blue, so these must go together. And all these are yellow, that must go together. And you put little piles together. And then you go, oh, wow, these 2 blue pieces happen to fit together. I don't know what the picture is, but I don't have to know what the full picture is of my purpose in order to start with the piece that's in front of me. And that's my encouragement for somebody today. Just take the piece that you do see, put that together first. And when you put those 2 pieces together, wow, wait a minute, now I see that this other piece fits. And even though you don't fully know what the end may be, just because you're in motion putting those pieces together, it'll all start to come clear to you. All right, so that was kind of a recap on step number 1, become the queen or king of your domain. I could go so much deeper, and I have some more in the book where you can dig deeper into it, but I think that's enough to get us started on the journey or the next phase of the journey, where you just pray, he'll guide you. Remember, this is God's plan. It's his purpose that he wants fulfilled. So he's not going to keep it a secret from you. He might give you only a little piece, or he might want you to spend some more time with him in relationship and to trust a little bit more. But remember, he wants you to know your purpose. He wants you to grow towards your purpose, and he wants to have a personal relationship with you in that journey, because he doesn't want you to just go out on your own and do this without him. That's how we got into this mess to begin with. Adam and Eve had a purpose. They had all the provisions. They had everything they needed. They had the good life. They didn't have to have a job. They had a purpose to take care of the earth, to manage the resources, right? To rule, but according to God's rules. And when they did that, everything was perfect. It wasn't until they went off on their own and deviated that everything became corrupt. So it's the same thing as we pursue our purpose. He doesn't want to give it to us just so we can run off and do our own thing. He wants to have a relationship with us, and he wants to work through us to fulfill his plan and purpose on earth. All right, let me pause for a second. for just a couple minutes. Anybody have something pressing on your heart that really made an impact? Feel free to post in the Facebook chat if you're watching on Facebook Live, or in this chat here in the Zoom. But what is it that stood out? Does somebody have something that impacted you the most, or you have a question about? We can take maybe one or two before we go to the next topic.
Yeah, I'll ask you a question.
Hey, Dan.
How you doing? So you talked about trying to go back to find out who that person was before you started learning all this stuff. Are you talking about, like, how far back are you talking about reflecting?
Oh, what I was talking about was more so just looking at the first 3 chapters of the book of Genesis. And it paints a clear picture of what God's plan was for us.
Well, but this had to do with ourselves, on our personalities and the things.
Oh, and experiences?
The experiences. And you were talking about discovery, and that how sometimes or at least this was my perception, we start learning things. And then we start taking a test, and then we start creating somebody we think we're going to become, rather than being.
Got it. So let me give
we are.
Okay, so when it came to the personality test, I'll give you an example. One of the questions when you take the Myers-Briggs personality test asks about, like, your nature as an introvert or an extrovert, those type of questions. And so most people who know me today would think that I'm an extrovert, and would think that I have those extroverted qualities because I've learned how to be extroverted, but my nature is introverted. So if I answer those questions based on the skills that I've learned today, my test would come out as an extrovert. But if I answer based on my nature before I started learning these compensatory skills, or because I got into the network marketing profession, where I learned to build relationships, learn how to network, learn how to do public speaking, my answers today might be different than my actual nature, the way I was. So I was just saying to be mindful of that when you're answering the question. Try to think about who you were by nature, not by learned skills, and that could change the outcome. Ricky Smith, ENFJ, yep, that seems like you, brother. That makes a lot of sense. I can see that. Definitely E, extrovert, intuitive. I can see that. Feeler, J, yep, that makes sense. ENF, I would have guessed ENFJ or ENFP. But look, Google those 4 letters, and when you look at the description, some of y'all either already knew or you just took it that face. Some of y'all already know your letters. It is so powerful. You have children. Please get to know your children's personality types. It could change the game. Everybody that I mentor in this, and like, man, I never did this before. They're like, my relationship with my children is better. I used to think my child was being disobedient and all these things, and now I realize, oh, we're just having a personality clash. Because once you know your personality type and your child's personality type, you can Google those 2 letters, those 2 sets of letters together, and it'll give you tips on some of the clashes and how to overcome some of those clashes, how to get along better. This applies to family, co-workers, team members, business partners. It's very helpful. And also to understand your strengths and weaknesses within your personality type, to know who are some of the people you might need to team up with, because some of the time, the reason we don't pursue our passion and our purpose is because we're thinking we're supposed to do it all by ourselves. And that's not what God planned it, how he planned it out. If we can all do it by ourselves, we wouldn't need each other. That's just not how we set things up. So there's certain strengths that he's given us for a reason, and there's certain weaknesses that we have because we're supposed to partner up with other people who have strengths that we don't have. In the book of Ephesians, it talks about the one body part can't say to another body part, I have no need of you. But it's all of the body parts working together that allows for us to function as one body. And that's part of God's plan. We're one family, one human family, one body working together for the fulfillment of God's ultimate plan for us. So I hope that helped, Dan.
Yeah, that helps a lot, because, I've taken a lot of those tests in the past before. Perhaps others have too, but you're the first person I've ever heard say, think about the person that you were naturally before you develop skills, because then we end up tripping on our own feet, thinking we're one thing when we're really not. That it's the result of training rather than natural. And so
Yes,
now I'm really excited to go take that test.
yes,
Like, wow,
indeed.
that might be a major eye opener for me, because
It,
sometimes I feel conflicted inside, like,
it
you
really is. And one of my favorite, there's a guy on YouTube, if for those that want to go a little bit deeper, once you know your 4 letters, his name is C.S. Joseph. C.S. C like cat, S is in Sam, Joseph. And he's got a YouTube channel. If you want to go a little bit deeper in understanding your personality type, it goes much deeper than those 4 letters. But just even understanding the surface level of the 4 letters, once you get them right, like, are you more introverted or more extroverted? Are you more intuitive in how you make decisions, abstract concept ideas, or more tangible sensory, the 5 senses, touch, feel, smell, etc. When it comes to decisions, are you more of a feeler when it comes to decision making, or more logic when it comes to decision making? In your working style, are you more of a finisher, like, I gotta finish this before I move on to this next thing, or more of a starter where you start this and then you put that on pause and then come on and do another thing? If you're like me, I'm a P, which means I'm more of a starter than a finisher by nature. I'll have 25 different tabs on my computer as a P. If you're a J, that'll drive you crazy. Like, I can't have all those tabs open. How do you do that? Like, introvert, extrovert, are you more likely to initiate a conversation with somebody? That's more of an extroverted tendency. Or are you more reserved, and somebody else is more likely to initiate with you and then you respond? That's more of an introverted quality. So some of you could kind of figure out your 4 letters just with that alone. Introvert versus extrovert is the first category. The second category is the way you receive information. Is it more intuitive concepts, ideas, intangibles, which is N for intuitive, or is it more S, sensory? I got to touch it, smell it, taste it. Physical sensory is how I receive information better. So N versus S, intuitive versus sensory. The third category is the decision-making part. When it comes down to making decisions, is it more feelings-based decision-making, or is it more logic-based decision-making? That most people have a leaning. Some people are like 50-50 on the cusp as well. And then the fourth one, again, as P versus J. P stands for perceiving. I don't know why they call it that, but what it basically means is you're more like a starter like me. I can have a lot of tabs open, start this one project, push pause, go to another one, do another one, then come back to this one. Whereas if you're an extreme J, which is called a judger, don't worry about the word. It doesn't mean what it sounds like. It just means your working style is, you're like more of a finisher. Your preference is to, I want to get this finished before I move on to the next thing. So just from those 4, some of you can figure out right now where you lean in terms of the 4 letters. Introvert versus extrovert, number 1. Sensory versus intuitive, number 2. Thinker versus feeler, number 3. And P versus J, number 4. All right. Hope that helps. Anybody else? Comment or question?
Coach Fard, this is Ed Castle. Yeah,
yes, sir.
You really struck me the way you started us out. They talk in our business about the why. Stephen Covey, I think, was the one that said, begin with the end in mind. And you opened my eyes massively. I'm the CPA trained guy, so I was going to be the ring earner and be an executive director, and that's as far as it went. And I've already started elevating those statements that I made and opened my eyes tremendously. Thank you.
Oh, just in the time being here, as you're talking about.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, there's 2 things I'll say about that. And for those that are new to the environment, a lot of us are entrepreneurial. A lot of us are in business. A lot of us are in network marketing. That's the vehicle that God brought to me that helped me retire 40 years early at the age of 22 years old. So when you hear people talking about their business or their network marketing company, we have a lot of people that are in business, and that's a part of their freedom plan. But even though this call is not about any particular business at all, even though some of you all know me from business, as you can tell by now, this is much bigger than business. This is about purpose and freedom. It's about becoming the leader we were created to be and experiencing the fullness of life that is available to us, but we haven't been taught how to live that life. But what I was going to say, what you brought to my mind, is the power of why is what you were just talking about. And our why is so important. We always hear about that. What's your why? What's your why? What are your reasons deeper than the money, deeper than the freedom? And I want to encourage everybody, as you get clear on your vision, get clear on your goals, your ultimate dream, and pray about it and write about it. But go deeper than the money. It's deeper than that. What are you going to do when money is no longer an issue? In fact, in the opening chapter of my first book, Born to Rule, it asked my favorite question. If we were ever sitting on an airplane together and I had 2 minutes, only 2 minutes, I'm probably going to ask you this question. Imagine if you had complete time and financial freedom already. All your bills are more than paid. You don't have to worry about bills anymore. Your bills are more than paid. Your family's taken care of. You have an extra 40, 50, 60 hours a week because you don't even need a job anymore. Imagine this. Close your eyes, you need to, not if you're driving. But you've got complete time and financial freedom. And the question is, if you could only do one thing to make a positive impact in this world, remember, your family's already taken care of. Your bills are already taken care of. We're going deeper now. You can only do one thing to make a positive impact in this world using your gift. What is that one thing you would dedicate your life to? What is that one thing you would dedicate your life to? Is it a group of people, a specific group of people that pops in your mind and your heart and your spirit that, okay, I want to do something for this type of person, this type of people? Is it a particular problem that pops up? This has always bothered me and it needs to change. Somebody ought to do something about this. I don't know why it doesn't bother everybody else the way it bothers me. What is that one thing that you would dedicate your life to? And I want you to post it in the chat. This is one of the most profound questions, and it's very strategic the way I asked it, because some of you already know what you're called to do and you don't realize it. And the reason you don't realize it is because your entire life, you haven't been taught to think from a place of abundance. If I had time freedom and financial freedom and all the support that I needed to pull it off already, what one thing would I do? Some of you have an immediate answer to that. And it's because when you start to think like that, it's usually drowned out by reality. I got bills to pay. I got this to pay. So you start to muddy all of what was already clear with all these lower level things that seem like they're everything, but there's a higher level than just paying your bills. We weren't created just to go to work, get paid, pay bills, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, get paid, pay the bills until we die. That is not our purpose. That is not our purpose. So when you come from a place of abundance where you're already free, where you already have time, now you can start to think more clearly and search your heart without all the distractions of the bills. And then once you're clear on that purpose, and that doesn't mean you get it, the first answer might not be the ultimate answer, but it's a step in that, take a step in that direction. What can you do right now, this month, baby step in that direction? And I promise you, when you take steps towards the direction of your purpose, there are doors that will open up for you that will unlock what was meant for you to begin with, but you never positioned yourself to receive the gifts that God had for you. Your provisions that God have for you are directly tied to your purpose, your assignment. And the only way you align yourself with those provisions is to get positioned in your assignment. And once you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, all these other things will be added to you. That means all the money you'll ever need is hiding behind your purpose. All the money you'll ever need is hiding behind your purpose. You may not even need millions of dollars to live your life and fulfill your purpose. That'd be cool, but all the money you ever need. Maybe you do need billions of dollars to do what God wants you to do. If it is, he's got that for you. And it doesn't come with traps when it comes from him. He has no sorrow with it. So when you align yourself with your divine purpose, all of a sudden you step into a flow that people don't understand. You step into a level of peace and joy that other people don't understand. People start asking you questions that people ask, why are you always so smiling all the time, so happy all the time? You can't be that way. It's a level of peace. My question is, why are you not so peaceful and so happy? You need what I got. It's just when you get, and guess what? When I step out of alignment, which I have many times, all of a sudden, those provisions aren't there. All of a sudden, I'm trying to force things to happen. All of a sudden, there's all this stress and friction. Doesn't mean there aren't challenges when you are in alignment. There are challenges, but it's a different way to live when we don't have to worry. And we've been taught, go find the job that has the most quote unquote security in it, that has the best benefits, that have the best provisions. Let me tell you something. I'm from Washington, D.C. Everybody says you go get you a good government job. Well, if you think this government has good benefits, wait till you tap into his government's benefits. The king of the universe, the king of kings, the one who created everything, owns everything. This is about a government, not a religion. So I don't know who's been impacted by this tonight, but get into alignment. I'm telling you, when you get in alignment and ask that question, imagine, keep exercising that muscle. Imagine you already have time and financial freedom. You don't have to worry about it. You got all the support you need. You've got access to the resources you need to pull it off. You've got access to the staff. You've got access to the funding. You've got access to the mentors. You've got access to the partners. Everything you need to fulfill this assignment, God is going to provide it as long as you do your part. What's the one thing? Ask that question. Pray about that question. What's the one thing I would do to make a positive impact in this world that I would dedicate my life to? And watch the clarity that comes as you go. And then take baby steps in that direction, because you're going to learn more. There's some things you only learn by taking action. There's a time and place to be still and know that he is God. There's a time to sit still and pray and listen. But then there's also a time to take action, to take baby steps. And in business, I talk about my friend Fraser Brooks gave the best analogy to learning and applying. We were hanging out in Dubai, and he said, when you learn something, that's like taking a step with your left foot. And when you take action on something, that's like taking a step with your right foot. But if all you do is learn, you're just pivoting and going around in circles over and over again. You're not moving forward. But the same, if all you do is take a step with your right foot, activity, but you never slow down to learn something new, you're still going around in circles. So to move forward towards your calling, towards your purpose, you got to take a step with your right foot, take a step with your left foot, take a step with your right foot, learn something, go do something, read a scripture, take action on the scripture, pray about something, take action on what you prayed, get around a mentor, model, pick up a behavior, a quality that they have, practice it, do it badly, give yourself permission to be bad before you get good, give yourself permission to be brand new at something again. Some of us have gotten so polished or so good at what we do in our career or in our lives that we don't give ourselves any room to be brand new again at something. No grace. We expect to come out of the gate running like we are with the thing we've been doing for years. You've been on your job for 20 years and you're so good and polished at it. And then it's time to learn something new, whether it's moving towards your calling or starting that business or building your business, that you're too embarrassed to look bad and be brand new again. But you've got to give yourself permission to be brand new again. If you're listening, type hashtag brand new again. # brand new again. Put it in the chat. Give yourself permission to be brand new again. There's no better time than a brand new year to give yourself permission to be brand new again. I'll never forget watching my baby brother take his first steps. 1985. We lived in Maryland. He was born in 1985. And then one day we were all in the living room, and the way that the chairs were set up, it was kind of like a triangle, the different chairs. And I remember he was crawling, and then he stood himself up on one of the chairs and then took a dash toward the next chair, and then he fell and stumbled. And guess what we said to him? We said, "You stupid baby, why are you stumbling and falling like that? You idiot, you're never gonna learn how to walk. You might as well give up and quit right now." Did we say that? Of course not. But that's how we talk to ourselves and wonder why we're so intimidated to keep taking action. What do? He stumbled and fell, and he looked up at us to see how he should respond. And, oh, yay, we got excited and cheered him on with the baby steps. He's like, oh, I guess I did something good. Let me try that again. Then he rolled up to the chair and grabbed onto it. And then he went on a dash again, fell, stumbled, and fell. What do? We didn't say stupid baby. I want to burn this in your head. Every time you talk to yourself like that, I want you to imagine saying that to a baby. You'd be arrested for child abuse. But no, we say, oh, great job, good job, keep going. And then he got excited and got encouraged and kept going. And next thing you know, after a few laps, he was walking. He was taking his first steps. And then he went from crawling to stumbling to baby steps to walking to running. And now he's proficient at something that he wasn't good at. Family, whenever we start something new, it doesn't matter what age we are, we have to give ourselves permission to be brand new again, to start with those baby steps, to give ourselves time to grow. And as we move into leadership, some of you are leading teams, some of you are wanting to build a team, you got to have that same level of care for the people that you're leading. Stop expecting them to be a grown person in a new endeavor, in a new journey. Allow them space to be brand new again, to take baby steps. Write this down. It's okay to be bad before I get good. Write this down. Sometimes I got to take a step back in order to take 2 steps forward. That's okay. Don't be afraid of activity. I know school messed us up because we would get bad grades for making a mistake, but that's not how life works. If you don't make mistakes, how do you grow? How do you learn? Life doesn't give you a bad grade. Life says, good job. What'd you learn? All right, now you get to invest what you learn into the next time. So I hope that helps somebody. Let's open it up. Who's the next person? Something really hit you, a question or something really impacted you tonight. Let's hear from some of you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Selena Scott again. So, I went first, and there's a trick in going first, because, I read the script and I said everything that I thought I was supposed to say or that I did say. But when I heard everybody else go, I was like, oh man, I didn't know we were going to do that. So having said that, and to add, and it goes right along with everything that you've been speaking on tonight, I know 2 of my callings. And so one I will share with you all, because it just really goes with everything you're speaking on. Sometimes you walk into a room, you don't know what to expect. I didn't expect everything that you're going over tonight. I am just so floored. But, I am called to the homeless, and I have been feeding the homeless since before I left for college. And I'll never forget it probably was like my senior year. I definitely know I was in high school. was the first time that I had saw this homeless guy, and it was cold. And, you know, I had ran to get him some donuts and some coffee downtown. I just never forget it. That was my first encounter. But I'll tell you, from the first all the way up to right now, today, I feed the homeless right here in Jacksonville, Florida. And I live in St. John, so it's like an hour drive, but I don't care. I cook, because that's another thing I do on the side is I do personal chef. So I actually cook like really good meals for them. And I go to the dollar store and I get Tupperware and I get napkins, forks, I get water, I get your little snack, you know, you might want little cookies in there, all kinds of stuff. So I do like, you know, hot meals. And then in summertime, sometime I'll do hot dogs, PB&J, all kinds of stuff, right? Like, because we also eat that even as adults and stuff. You know, food is food, you know, and then I bag it up and I put it in laundry baskets, or I'll put it in boxes or whatever I have. And then I load up my car and I don't know where I'm going. And I'll be like, okay, Lord, where we going today? You know, I don't know where I'm going. And you learn like all homeless people are just not out in front, because unfortunately people are mean to the homeless people and they beat them and they do all kinds of things to them. So sometimes they're hiding. Not only that, because they, you know, people are going to make them move and they're going to call the police on them. There's a lot that goes with that. But not only that, and I know I'm speaking a lot and I'll shut up, but you know, these are homeless vets. Some of them are homeless vets. They're not in their right mind because they don't have their meds. So let me pull that and fast forward. My pastor passed away. Two of my pastors passed away, but one of my pastors, R.J. Washington, out of Titus Harvest Dome Spectrum, I don't know if anybody knows, but he has so many different churches and schools and all different types of hotels and all the stuff that he left behind. And one of the houses is called the Jephthah House. And God has put it on my heart as commission. I swear it's the last thing I do. I want to know where that house is. And I want to take possession of that home. And we was feeding the homeless and we were clothing them. And there's a work to be done. And I want to go back and I want to do the work. And I want to do it and I'm going to do it. And, you know, a lot of us, and I hear a lot of other people of the things that we want to do, but all of this stuff take money, right? But 1,000 of a cattle hills belong to God. And so we're his children and he's going to make it possible for us to do it. We know we have the right heart. We have the right intentions and we're going to be able to do it. So, you know, me doing Legal Shield and being in, like, it's not by accident, you know, Coach, you came over the mic and you try to help me then. And now we're one-to-one and this is totally different, but it's something that I am already a part of. That's something that I already believe in God. I'm an ordained minister myself. I love the Lord. I love his word. I love his work, the calling. You have got to be a servant. If you are not a servant, who are you? What are you doing with your life? I digress, but I just want you to know, you know, like I have a big, you know, if your assignment isn't bigger than you, then we got to check it out, right? Because God calls us to do things that seem so impossible, like little old me, who's going to listen to me? And, you know, but I just have in my mind, he's already given me the blueprint. He's already given me so much of what I need and how I'm going to get it done. And I swear to you, by God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to work Legal Shield. I'm going to work whatever, however, and I'm going to get it done. And I already have a house. I want a house for the men and I want a house for the women. My son is a Marine and he's going to run the man house. My daughter is Army. She going to run the women house. I'm going to just make sure they get their meds. I'm going to make sure everything is going copacetic. You got to have your DD-214. You can possess that. You can show forth that and we can prove it. You're in the house. But there's work to be done. You're going to be reformed. You're going to be in the program. You're going to be in the boot camp all over again. And we're going to get your life back on track. And we're going to get your life back. Oh, God, just y'all pray for me because it is truly something that God is going to do for each and every one of us on this call. So just hold on, hold fast. Know that this is not an accident. And we're going to get what God has for us. Just be blessed, be encouraged. I digress. I'm so sorry.
Ooh, no, don't you apologize. and you all messing up my makeup over here and stuff like that.
Sister Bear.
Seriously speaking, a couple things. Number one, thank you for your transparency. And it's funny, some of you all know me from business, and you expected this to be all business, some of you. And you may be wondering, what does this world have to do with my business? Let me tell you something. If you think you're successful in business outside of your purpose, wait until you put your purpose in front of your business and watch what God does with your business. He might even rearrange your business. He might move you where he wants you to be, or you may already be where he wants you to be. But there's a certain power and authority and a special grace, and there's certain provisions that come with being in alignment with your purpose. You haven't seen how well your business can do until you put your purpose in front of it. When you're driven by your purpose, your calling, and this is what I wanted to say earlier, I got sidetracked, and it's one thing to know your reason why, but then it's another thing to know your who. Your who. Amen. Step one in the 7 steps to claiming your freedom and living your purpose is about your who you are. And I liken it to a vehicle. Your why is like the gas pedal. Those reasons that propel you forward to do what you were called to do in life and or your business. Your why is the gas pedal. When you got strong reasons why, you can put the pedal to the metal and it'll speed you up. But there's something even more powerful than your why that nobody talks about. And that's your who you believe you are and whose you believe you are. And if your why is the gas pedal, your who is the brake. Your who is your identity, your self-image, how you see yourself. And when you're called by God, when you have a purpose in God's plan, the number one thing that Satan's gonna attack is your identity, your self-image, your self-worth. I should have known. If I knew what I knew now, I would have been unfazed by all the attacks that tried to get me to take myself out by 6 years old. I should have known how big my calling was back then by the level of attack on my life so early. How about you? So when you embrace your who, your identity, who you truly are, look up the first 3 chapters of Genesis and realize why mankind was created. Use purpose-driven life, whatever resources, pray about who you were created to be and understand how powerful you are in God's plan. How important must you be for him to pack you with the gifts that he's packed you with, for him to even put you in this environment. There's no accident. I was gonna ask you before you go, you just shared, Miss Scott, I believe it is, if you have a website for your passion, or a way that people can reach you and your passion, post it in the chat. You have no idea who might be listening. And this is a word of encouragement for somebody else. Sometimes you've been waiting for God to send you the provisions that you need to do what it is that he's calling you to do. And sometimes God is actually waiting for you to start taking action. Speak about it like she just spoke about hers. Put it out there. Move in that direction, because guess what? You may have this vision that God is giving you and you don't have the money to pull it off. And yes, God might give you a business to pay for, but God has all kinds of ways to provide for what he wants done. But so you may have the vision for what you feel called to do, and somebody else, and you're praying for the provision, somebody else is sitting on a bunch of money and they're praying about, God, what do you want me to do with this money? But because your mouth is closed and you're not speaking what you were called to do, the person who's looking for you can't even find you. I don't know who that was for. So start speaking about, this is why we say, this is who I am. That's your identity. I am the BornCEO of My Life Incorporated. It's for you to strengthen your identity, your self-worth in the kingdom of God and God's plan, who he created you to be. God doesn't create, on a scale of 1 to 10, God only makes 10s. He only makes 10s. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, God only makes 10s. When you got here, you won that race against 1 billion other sperm cells. You came in number 1. You came here, you can't even make it here unless you're number 1. Take that on for size. So I don't care who told you otherwise, what you told yourself, what the devil tried to convince you about who you are. God only makes 10s. So never look down on somebody else because they're a 10 too. And if you ever think you're higher than a 10, come back down a notch, because anything above 10 is God Almighty himself. 10 is enough. So if you ever find yourself going too high, above 10, bring it back down to 10. If you ever find yourself going below a 10, bring it back up to a 10. God made you a 10. So get your identity right. This is why we talk about your dream, your vision. I'm talking beyond your business dream, beyond the money. What is your calling? What are you called to do? And when you align with that bad boy, the power and the provision, the doors that open up, I'm telling you, be ready. So for those of you, some of you are on here, you've got a business, but you're trying to figure out your purpose. Some of you have your purpose and you're trying to figure out entrepreneurship. I have students in every different category. Some of y'all don't know me from business, you know me from ministry. And you're like, whoa, where did all this business stuff come from? Some of you know me from business, you don't know me from ministry. You're like, whoa, where did all this ministry stuff come from? Family, there's no separation. I'm all of that. And this is where all of it comes together. This is my life's work. This is my calling. This is the thing God told me he put me here to do at 6 years old, and I didn't understand it. This is the thing I've deviated from, gone astray. He brought me back. I deviated over here, gone astray. He brought me back. I got off track. I had to repent for things in my life that were blocking me from my purpose. And now it's on. It's game on. No more playing small. It's 2024, y'all. We don't have time to waste. Tomorrow's not promised. There's something that we were put here to do, and our role is a catalyst to somebody else's role. So when we hold back and we delay and we procrastinate on doing what we're supposed to do, we're actually holding up other people's gifts. So it's time to get ourselves out of the way. It's time to become who we were born to be. It's time to do what we were born to do. For those in business, it's time to bring who you were born to be into your business. When you bring who you were truly born to be, I call it put your crown back on. In the first chapter of the book, when you start operating as the royalty that you are in business, watch what happens in your business. For those of you who already have your crown on in terms of your calling, but you've been afraid to step out there on your dream. You've been afraid to start that business, start that nonprofit, or maybe you started it, but you haven't been building it. It's time to get moving. It's time to get moving. There's an urgency in the atmosphere. There's certain, I don't know what the timeline is right now, but God is saying there's things that need to happen now. Not now, but right now. And there is no coincidence that you're here. All right. So for those of you, as you start to answer the question about that thing, that one thing you would do, and I know it might be more than one, but what's the one thing you would do first? As you start to get clear on that, I want you to create a free website or something. Like go to somewhere like, what are those free landing pages? MailChimp, like MailChimp.com. I want you to just start doing something with it. Create a landing page with just your mission on it or something like that, and a contact form so people can put in their contact information. Take a baby step in the direction of your vision. You never know who's listening. And when you get in, you start moving forward, all of a sudden somebody finds you, and they can make it easy for the people to find you that God's trying to connect with you. Sometimes God's trying to connect you with people, but you're running from it, playing hide and go seek. Make it easy for people to find you. Make it easy for you to be blessed financially. Sometimes we're praying about being blessed financially, but the only place we're allowing ourselves to even receive a financial provision is from the job. We're not opening up an opportunity to serve our gift. Some people want to hire you in your gift. Your gift is so amazing. There's some people that want to hire you to use your gift, and it might not even be what you do in your job. You might find yourself earning more in your gift than you do on your job. And then some of you, you feel You're going to be called to give away your gift for free. And maybe you have a business that funds your life so you can give your gift for free. I don't know. That's between you and God. But I'm trying to speak to everybody. I feel a sense in my spirit where you might be. But stick around. We're doing this every Monday night. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's lock arms together. It's going to be an exciting time. You're not alone. There's a reason you're here. And God's got a plan for all of us. So we're going to be talking about, everything we talk about is about freedom and purpose. Freedom and purpose, freedom and purpose, freedom and purpose. We're going to hit it from different angles because they go together. Your freedom is so that you can live your purpose. Your purpose comes with freedom. But then there's a leadership development journey to wash away all the old thinking, the old beliefs that we've picked up on in this corrupt world. We got to replace all those old disempowering beliefs and thoughts and emotions with empowering beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, so God can allow us to experience the abundance that's available to us right now, not one day when we get to heaven. His purpose for us is on earth. If he wanted us to stay in heaven forever, he would have left us there to begin with. Hello, somebody. Let's use a little common sense. He put us here for a reason. Even when we go to heaven, that's temporary. There's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. And so check out the first 3 chapters of Genesis. Catch the history of God's plan for us before we mess it up. And then check out the last 3 chapters, which is a future of God's plan, and recognize that our lives today, all the chapters of the Bible, including our life today, is the journey to getting there. And your purpose is your role in God's big plan. Let's pray. Father, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for rescuing me from myself, even at the age of 6 years old. Thank you for reminding me of who I am, teaching me who I am, and even still helping me become who you created me to be. Thank you for giving us a way out, Father. Thank you for sending your son to not only keep us from damnation and going to hell, but to restore us back into who you created us to be in the beginning. You came to show us how to live in authority on earth, not sit back and wait to go to heaven. We are the salt of the earth. We are the light of the world. Thank you for empowering us. I pray for everybody here, everybody listening, everybody watching, everybody who's seeking their purpose. Please help draw them closer to you so that they're not just going to people trying to get answers, that they come directly to the source. Let them know they can come straight to you, talk to you just like they would talk to a regular person. They don't have to know what to say, how to say it, how to pray. Just talk to you, connect with you, trust you, spend time with you. Thank you for your unconditional love. Thank you for creating us to be who you created us to be. Thank you for freeing us, teaching us to cast our net on the right side. Because sometimes we're trying to create provisions for ourselves and we're working hard and we're so stressed out and all of our time is being sucked up, and you're saying there's a better way. Cast your net on the right side of the boat. Show us your plan for us. Even though it may not be the same for each of us, show us what your plan is for us, and give us the courage to move forward in faith with works. We promise to give you all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, family. Love you all. That's our session for tonight. Next week, we're going to go into step number 2, which is chapter 2 in the book. Come back, bring back more people, bring teenagers, bring these youngins, y'all, bring these young folks. What if you got this stuff when you were 14 years old, 13 years old? What if I got this stuff? What if I came into this environment? We're going to be going into strategies for financial freedom, strategies for business growth, all of that stuff. See you back here next week, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Have people register at BornCEO.com/BCLA. BornCEO.com/BCLA, as in Born CEO Leadership Academy. It is the direct link. And I'll put that in the Facebook Live. I'll put it in the chat here right now as well. So you can have people registered. It'll automatically send them the link. And we look forward. Keep spreading the word. Let's grow. And come back with your stories of what God does in your life over this next week. Bring back some stories, bring back your experiences, and let's continue to grow together. BornCEO.com/.
Coach Bell?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
This is Charlene Hill Virgil. I just want to thank you seriously for creating such a incredible space that you can share your divine, spiritual, and professional wisdom. This has really been a blessing. And I just want to say to you personally, may God seriously continue to provide you with his abundance and his grace and his enlightenment, so that you have what you need to feel the hearts and the purpose of the people that he has put in your path to lead.
I received that. Thank you. Thank you much. Love you all.
You're welcome.
Catch you next week.
Good night.
Love you much. Thanks.
Love you. Thank you.